Welcome everybody. I'm PadoCast, and it is going to be a juicy next couple weeks, months. Houston Regional on the horizon. I'm gonna film a lot of content there, try to get as far as I can. More content if I get knocked out, less content obviously if I make it through. The more days I'll be focused on playing. But there have been a lot of spoilers or leaks kind of going out. I personally like to wait until we get official notification of what a thing is before jumping the gun. Appears a lot of the leaks ended up being kind of true. Personally, for me, as someone that used to work for Riot, I think the tough part for me is I know that when that kind of stuff happens, there's a team behind that's planned out this release and excitement and things like today at PAX Unplugged. And when those leaks happen, it's just a real letdown because you have this kind of whole plan for how you're going to surprise and delight players. And then when stuff like that happens and gets leaked early, it kind of takes away that big kind of presentation or reveal, if you will. That said, I still think they had a lot of juice in this. So let's talk about some of the new champions, which was one of the headliners off the rip. So as we go through here, we knew these were coming. However, we did get Ezreal. He's a prodigal sorcerer. He's mind and chaos. And he says, as a reaction, you can draw one if you target enemy units or gears twice in a turn with spells or unit abilities. Now, I have to imagine that the Ezreal champion unit is going to be able to tap and do something of that sort. I have to believe also that there's, like repeat, as a spell mechanic in this is going to be on a lot of Ezreal spells. They're going to be able to target things. I think having this as an extra draw thing is just really, really good because every time you cast two cards, or if you get a repeat card, or you have something that can already double up, singularity, something like that, you're going to get to draw a card off of it. And I think that's just really strong. I think card draw in general is strong. Glorious Executioner, he's ridiculous because he can draw so many in turn. Ezreal's limited to just one, which is more balanced in theory. But I think that it's still going to be a strong ability and fits Ezreal's kind of theme. And I think this is a great card. Now for Grand Duelist, we have Fiora. And Fiora is kind of reminds me a little bit of Volibear in the playing with mighty units. But she basically says when a unit becomes mighty, so that means like it's not mighty and then it becomes mighty. So not just playing a mighty unit, you can exhaust her to channel one rune exhausted. Now, what this probably means in practice and what they're thinking is, okay, so now if I, equip a gear to a unit, I can get that rune back because a lot of gear in this game is going to cost a power. So you kind of like get that power back. If we look at Yellow Fiora or Order Fiora, fits this theme very well where she gets mighty, she gets more things. And so you can see equipping gear. I have to believe that Body Fiora, with the potential orange one's going to set. I don't know exactly if we're going to get two of each color this set as well. But I think that if any of them have Weapon Master, then you actually start to ramp because Weapon Master will reduce that power cost and you'll start to get stuff on there and create mighty units. And it'll be free and you'll just be ramping with the runes exhausted, which I really like with this card. So there are lines with this potential deck. Again, a lot of these things are going to depend on what ends up being in the pool, whether they're super ridiculously strong or not. I have to believe that obviously they put in cards to buff these mechanics. And so having a card that kind of ramps you like this seems pretty cool. It doesn't have an ability to kind of like untap like Conquering or something like that. But I still think the ability to ramp or kind of get refunded for using equipment does make sense in this set, and so is it interesting kind of fitting into the set role of like what would you kind of play. Next up we have Grandmaster at Arm Jax, which fits the set so perfectly. When there was a character missing, in my head I was like, Jax has to be one of them because like he's just the weapon master. He's like he's so good at fighting in the lore that he has to use like odds and ends. He uses like a lamppost to fight people, or he uses a fishing rod and his angler jack skin. So I think that is really cool. And his whole thing is you can pay one instead of you can pay a resource instead of a power, it looks like, or ignore all the power resource costs to attach things to make equipment very, very easy to attach with just one resource. Or if it's already attached to something, he can swap it between characters by just exhausting, which I think that is really, really strong. This fits like a lot of the other cards in this set that we like, Spellsonger, Trainer Force, all those kind of ones that might be high cost. Training Force kind of runs into its high cost just to get out. But if this can help you tempo and attach stuff for way cheaper and kind of eat through those costs, Spellsonger also being one of them because it's like, I think it's like one and a power to attach. And if you can just pay the one to attach it to something, that starts to make them more playable. That starts to lead to more plays. And the way I also like to think of it is think of Master Yi. So he would be competing with Master Yi. Master Yi gives you +2 to a unit that's by itself on a battlefield. Now, let's say you have some 2 might buffing equipment. You're basically Master Yi, but you get to pick specific units. They always have it attack, defend. They always have it. He's making it easier to do, and you can have it on multiple units. And so, yes, it costs something to get the gear out and stuff like that, but once you have the gear out to play with it and start to attach it to stuff that is coming into play and you can swap it on, I think that is potentially stronger than just Master Yi's flat ability that has a lot of caveats of like you have to be a solo unit, you have to be defending, that kind of stuff. I think that in this case, very, very strong. Potentially very, very strong. So I'm excited about Jax. I think he is a good one. Now, Rumble, for those who don't know, Rumble is one of my favorite characters all time. Played a ton of Rumble, lots of mastery on Rumble. Love Rumble to death. I think this is underwhelming because, first off, there are only so many mechs in the game. Right now, if you're looking at Rumble's colors, there's 3. I have to believe in this deck, and they've added a lot of mechs to make him work. So, barring some amazing cards in there, I think that giving them all shield is kind of funky. It's like, so it's a defensive ability, which is already going to be weaker than an offensive ability or something like that, or a draw ability. In general, defending is weak in Riftbound. It's not the way that you score a lot of points. However, it makes it harder for people and more likely that you will hold by having the +1 shield. But let's just think about it in terms of like, let's say you had Ari, if we're comparing to Ari. Now, if you're holding with both of these, this means that every one of your creatures is going to, every one of your units is going to get +1 might on if you're getting attacked. Ari basically -1 from anything that's attacking you, any number of units that are attacking you. So I kind of feel like Ari's ability is just better than giving your units shield, because it's indiscriminate, where this like has to be mech units. You have to play mech units with Rumble. So his entire strength of his deck is based on whether there are good or bad mech units. Where Ari, you can run any unit you want and you're going to get the -1 as they attack in. So it's just, I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed. You know, I don't know what I was hoping for or what it would get. You know, maybe mechs all get, I was hoping for mechs get Weapon Master, because I think it fits the set where you're getting gear in play, like attaching, like Rumble attaching stuff to the mechs to make them stronger or crazier. That fit the theme to me. And I wish that would have been what we got instead. You know, maybe this could end up being good if, depending on how good the mechs are. Like if we get some really good, if we get like a Kaisa Survivor mech and now it gets +1 shield, then yay, like great. But for what's there, you know, like Dangerous Duo is okay. Mega Mech with an extra shield is now 9 on defending, 4 on defending, and you have a buff unit with Legion. And this is a discard draw engine. Giving it an extra shield kind of makes it, you know, feel better for the power cost. But we really need to see some other good mechs in these colors, because, you know, we were leaving on the color room 4. We don't get to play Blitzcrank. We don't get to play Adaptatron. It's on our colors. But this would be good. Nah, because I was even thinking 2v2, because I played a little 2v2 lately, where it's like, oh, like then you could, then that's how you would get those mechs. It doesn't work because it says your mechs. So yeah, tough. I'm still gonna play a Rumble deck regardless. I'm still gonna build one. I'm still gonna play one. I'm still gonna get the overnumbered. Love the champion to death. And also to see what the champions are for Rumble. That could also be the real deciders here. But this is all based on the units, so a little bit disappointed that it's such a kind of blah ability, where these other abilities have a little bit more juice or fun mechanics to them. Next up, we have Rek'Sai, who was a surprise. Everyone thought that Yone was going to be in this set. Yone is just going to be a champion, it looks like, and Rek'Sai kind of filled in that slot as the Fury Order character. And she basically says, just for everyone knows, Rek'Sai is a she. She says, when you conquer, you may exhaust me to reveal the top 2 cards of your main deck. You may play one, then recycle the rest. So this is leading me to think that there's probably a lot of other good cards that you can kind of play off of. You're not going to tap anything out. You attack, you know, take early battlefields without casting anything, obviously, first. And then you could potentially play something off the top. Maybe there's more, like the thing, I mean, if there was chaos in Rek'Sai, which would have been great, then you could have had the Nocturne kind of reveal plays, which would have been really interesting. If there's more cards like that, like if there's more cards in the set that are specifically kind of built around Rek'Sai, that's like, hey, if you see me, you can play me for less or that kind of stuff. I think that could be huge, but we'll have to see what else is with Rek'Sai. I think there could be something cool. Like I can foresee just in my head. We haven't revealed anything. I don't know anything. Just throwing it out there. Like, what if, her signature spell is like her burrow ability and she's able to cheat out a unit to a battlefield or something like that, attacking kind of like a pseudo dead bloom predator. And then you're cooking, right? Like there's a lot of cool potential stuff that could be with this. But again, so much of this is like, what is the card pool that enables this to be good? And we'll have to wait and see. But I can see there being some cool stuff, and the ability to play stuff off the top of your deck is pretty cool. Now, next we have Ornn, and Ornn is kind of what some people guessed. I was in a stream and they were talking about like kind of like they were making fake versions of the legends, trying to guess what they would do, and Kaisa for equipment basically came up. I think it's cool that you can play gear, so it'll basically let you avoid most of the power costs for a lot of gear. There's a few there's like Steric's Gauge or whatever that take 2 power, so this will only save you 1, but we know that anything that reduces power and lifts that restriction makes things that are kind of like really good. So the fact that you can do that plus, or you can use gear abilities, which means attaching that kind of stuff. Ornn's going to be good. It's already in colors that I really like that play around buffs. You can play Time Warp, you can play Fox, Thousand Tail Watcher, to be clear, and still play your tasty Fey Folk. I think that this could be pretty lit as well. And being able to attach some gear and make some of those early threats like more permanent kind of threats is also really, really cool. And then last but not least, we have Lucian. Lucian is Fury Body, the Purifier, and he basically says all your equipment has Assault +1. Now, this one is also one where like I'm a little bit sad because for me, it's like, sure, okay, so now it's like you have to go through the rigmarole of you get your gear, you attach your gear, and then you get a +1 assault, which could be good. It'll be great on attacking. It'll be great with a Reaver's Row kind of team where you're just like sending in these really strong threats that can take over and bounce back and save themselves, that kind of stuff. I have to believe that there's some other stuff with Lucian that are in the champion card that we've already seen, and maybe potentially the other ones, and also the signature. Hopefully he gets his light guns, because those kind of make or break. Because one of the things that Lucian is kind of missing is an ability to just like go in and get kind of like a ready to assault or that kind of thing. So if there's gear or equipment, or then maybe they just have to roll with confront and some other stuff to get him in and get going. Maybe that's what we see from this deck. But this deck kind of has a lot of stuff that kind of like needs to like go off the rip to be strong. And assault +1 by going through the whole rigmarole of attached equipment doesn't seem super crazy to me. But again, card pool dictates everything, and we'll see as it goes. Similar to what like Renata, like you're looking at there, like this ability, holding is again one of the hardest things to do in the game. How strong is that? And then we got the Plundering Poro, which will like go and create you a gold, because really the whole point is you want to get to the score within 3 points, and once you're there, you're also getting the 1 extra resource, and then you're really cooking with gas though on this gear. So we'll see, but overall, some great reveals for champions. I'm excited about this, and there's much more. If you want to catch more of what was launched at PAX Unplugged, check into my other video. I'm going to kind of break down these sections so it's not just one 50-minute long video, and you could have some bite-sized sections of what you kind of want to pull out of this. But so far, I think that Jax could be super crazy. I also think Ezreal is decently strong. I still think that these two up at the top are the like raw power off the bat, look really, really strong. Orange Bill obviously strong, and the rest is all card pool. A little bit disappointed in Rumble, but could be amazing. A little bit disappointed in Lucian, but also could be amazing. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, remember, you're going to be amazing today because you are amazing, and I'll catch you next episode.